I really want to discuss education at large, not just in schools and universities, but I want to talk to you about it in the workplace. And I want to talk to you about it as humans, from human to human. I want to cut all the technical jabble, and I just want to talk to you about something that's really close to my heart. So I run an organization called Suits and Sneakers, and we have two major aims. One, we do want to indeed help businesses reimagine what their learning looks like in the workplace, because I believe it's fundamentally broken. And days like this will show you how broken learning is. And oftentimes we focus education toward schools and universities, and that is important. Early stage development / education is vital. But actually, if you think about it, the people, in a way, who need the education the most to understand a world that's coming are people in the workplace. Since we, all of us, we are the economic drivers of this country. You know, not people in high school right now. We are the ones who keep the economy turning. So if we don't understand what the future looks like, hell, if we don't understand what the present looks like, I think we're in a lot of trouble. But thankfully, we are also the ones who have the budgets, and if we get this right, there's a major incentive and benefit if we get this right. So it's with that I want to talk to you about this. I run a program called Forever Educated, where I really am trying to get people to shift their mindsets around learning. Now, in the beginning, when I spoke to you guys, I spoke to you about I try to give you some context, right? That the world is moving. I don't want to keep talking about the future, but if we can all agree that time is speeding up and all the things that I've mentioned, from me to Mercer, through to these guys, just showing you how the world is shifting, then don't you think we need to move toward a model based on being forever educated in the workplace or else? You see, I'm not one for quotes, but I really do hold this near and dear to me. The key factor in determining the success of any organization is its ability to use human talent. Discover it, develop it, deploy it, motivate and energize it. You know how I sometimes think about people in the workplace? Is, you know, when you look at your phone these days, you can see how much battery life is left. Imagine we could do a very similar thing to human beings, excepting we could see how much of their entire being is being used in the workplace. Do you think we'd get the hell of a fright? I think so. And so we know this intrinsically, but I think it's been babble up until now. And I think it's been that way because human beings don't respond well to we could do this. Not all of us, and I'm generalizing, we often respond to the stick. So I want to talk to you about that stick today and where we're at. You see, for me, I believe that the future of the world across the board is all predicated on education. I'm just not talking about this kind of education. In the 2 years that I've been running Suits and Sneakers, and I just don't have enough time to get into the context of how this all came about, but I did realize 2 years ago that my ultimate passion was about helping people understand there is a new way to acquire knowledge and skills. So what I've learned in 2.5 years, give or take, of running Suits and Sneakers events around the country, interacting with people, adults largely, on a daily basis, is that learning is two things. Learning is social, learning is emotional. I say that because if you think about it, today, the value of us still coming, despite the technology that we have, the value of us still coming into one central place, being here together, there's high value in the social aspect of the learning. As we're talking about the future, I can literally see some of you being like, oh, you can feel there's a tension in the room when there's certain points that are pushed across. We can all feel that. There's something to be said for learning that happens in a collaborative space. Learning is without question social. But learning is equally emotional. I often just take it back to simplistics for me. Why is it that your memories, your most vivid memories, stuck? And for me, the answer is your best memories, the things that have the most vivid detail. Maybe it's the day you got married, maybe it's the day your first child was born, whatever. How you remember it in absolute numeric detail is because there was maximum amount of emotion infused into that moment. But you don't remember driving to work last week, Thursday. You don't. And so what we've got to do is we've got to shift the way we push learning. Right? We've got to reimagine it from the ground up because you'd have to say that the current system is not working. If learning is social and emotional, I just don't see how that's cutting it. I just don't. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about formal versus informal education, and I want you to just take me with a pinch of salt when I talk about formal, because I don't think we should throw formal out the window. That's not what I'm advocating. I just want to be very clear about that. But I have some very, very big issues with formal. And I have some massive issues with the way we perceive formal, primarily on the basis that we still believe in 2017 that formal is the only answer to acquiring skills. I'd have to disagree. By virtue of digitization, The world is becoming democratized. Think photography. 40 years ago, photography worked on a scarcity model. If I asked you to take a picture, I couldn't just assume you had your ready camera with you and you had film and you were ready to expose it, right? I just couldn't expect it. But today, I can just automatically know. It's easy to say to you, please, won't you go to take a picture of that thing? I don't have to first worry if you've got a camera. Do you know what happened? By virtue of digitization, democracy of photography happened. We no longer count the amount of shots that we take. Agreed? Well, I think the same thing has happened to knowledge acquisition and, more importantly, information. Information has become democratized. How we receive information, how we share information with each other has changed. Earlier on, I told you that digitization is the cause of speeding up time. But indirectly, what happens is, thanks to digitization, what you have is human beings are able to share information with each other faster than ever before. That's why innovation is occurring. If you think about it, when I told you 50,000 years ago, life was local and linear, you know why? Because information moved at the speed of sitting around a campfire. That's how it was quiet and it didn't go very far. You could actually see the world change when the Gutenberg moment happened. The printing press was invented. And suddenly human beings were able to share information with each other faster and farther than ever before. Agreed? And then the telephone came about, and so forth. But today, information moves at the speed of the internet, and we can copy and paste at random and at will. So to say that the formal education sector is the only way you can acquire knowledge and skills is just beyond me. It's now become one of the many ways. We need to stop holding an old system up in such a high regard. It is one of the ways. In fact, I have to just say that it is the thing that's brought about all the innovation and all the change. But for me, it was born in a linear time, and we don't live in that. If you took one thing out of today, is that we now live in an exponentially changing world. And to make that more clear, you must understand that, as I said to you, we have a formal education system that was born as a result of the Industrial Revolution, the original Industrial Revolution. Primary school was created to create better factory workers. That's why reading, writing, and arithmetic is primary in primary school. Because if you were a factory worker that could read, write, and count, you were better than the guy who couldn't. High school was created to manage factory workers, and universities were the sole place of where innovation and movement happened. But that was then, and this is now. We have to rethink. Everybody can feel it. I don't have to tell you. Everybody can feel that the levels of what we need and what we're getting at the moment, there's a massive gap. Why is it that we send people to varsity and then we untrain them for the rest of their 20s so that they can finally fall back in line? Isn't the one preparing for the other? Am I missing the entire point? You see, kids, we are born with this innate desire to be curious, to ask why, to understand. But the schooling system largely drowns that. We push people in by age. You're 6, you're 6, you're 6, don't care how, 6, 6, 6, 7, 7, 7. You look different, you seem different, you don't care, different, just, right? You start here and you end here. There's a bell that tells you you're done at the end of the line. Does it sound like a factory to you? So what happens is you've got a schooling system that largely doesn't ask the right questions. As a result, it dulls our creativity. It says, I don't care how different you are versus you. You will all learn mathematics, and you'll all learn it the same way. I'm like, well, yes, that's true. Mathematics is one incredibly important form of intelligence, but so is dance, so is art. I see 1 million people or more making a lot of money because they can entertain people. So mathematics and science, not to be pushed down, by the way, but it is one form of intelligence. There are many forms of intelligence. The fact that Ronaldo and Messi can mess around with a football and it's like it's glued to their foot, it's another kind of kinesthetic intelligence. We need to move away from a world where we say, are you good at maths and science? Okay, you're smart, you're academic. Oh, you don't like math? Oh, no, you're not academic. What? So what I'm talking about is that education is the future, not just in schools and universities. The only reason I'm giving you that rap is to explain to you how it's equally moved into the workplace. This is a new form of education that will come around. You want to know how to cook good rice? I recently learned how to not mess rice up anymore. I YouTubed it. And I know it's still, and I know why you're laughing. It's funny and it's not funny. That is a legitimate way. Everybody gave me 1 million ways. I learned via watching doing it over and over, watching it on YouTube. You want to build brand new industries? You want to learn how the blockchain works? You don't have to go to varsity right now. I can curate about 10 different YouTube videos, starting from the very beginning right to the technical, to give you a really good perspective. Want to learn how marketing works? Want to learn how social media is evolving? Man, I can teach you anything. You know why? I understand this game. This is a new game, and it's so much more powerful. You see, I define education. We've got so many different things about how we think about it. I simply define education as the act or process of researching the future. If we start to cut away all the bullshit that we've associated toward education, and we just start to think about what are we doing, what is it for, we would reimagine it entirely. When you send your kids to school, you are simply trying to give them a wider frame of reference about the world at large and about what's to come in the future. We have moved away from these professional services, which again, I don't want to knock. They have their place, but it's not, the masses aren't going to move into that space. You want to know the number one skill you have to obtain, regardless of where you are and how old you are, is you have to become a problem solver. How do you learn for that? We need to reimagine it. You see, for me, I'd like to get you, I just want to dispel some myths about learning in the workplace. Number one, we are like apps. And I'm not trying to downgrade you to software, but hear me what I'm trying to say. In today's world, we've heard an exponential future is coming at us. Can you hear me in the back? Good, there we go. We've got this exponential future coming at us. So we need to constantly upgrade our app. So what we're doing in the indirect version is we're telling our kids, don't worry, go to school, get a degree for 4 years, now you're set for the rest of your life. No, that's a better thing to do than to not have one, I think, but you're not set. You've just started. And in the workplace, we still think of formal as the only way, whereas I'm arguing the only answer is informal in the workplace, or certainly a blend between the two. And the reason why I say that is, I'm 33, I can't just stop for 4 years to go upgrade my app. Sorry guys, don't need to eat for 4 years, just going back to varsity, gonna do this full time, just need to upgrade my app. Don't know how I'm gonna live, but I'm gonna do it. Obviously, stupid. There's a way to keep people in the workplace engaged and updating their app. You need to see it like that. That's why we need to shift the thinking around learning that happens in big blocks every so often to small bits of learning that happen continuous every day. Your job is no longer just to do your job. Your job is to do your job and widen your frame of reference of the world. You know how I can tell that? And I'm going to use a very silly example and then a high-level example. Just 2 years ago, you went and bought a movie ticket from a person. You walked up to Susie and said, can I have that movie ticket? Here's my money. And just 2 years later, you don't do that anymore. Just walk into Sandton City. Susie could have been in the Sellers Hall of Fame for tickets. It didn't matter if she wasn't looking over the fence to understand the bigger world. Do you agree? Just like that, she was taken out. She was the best in industry. And if you think it's not coming for other classes, law, accounting, these are just languages. They've just got defined sets of rules, very complicated. But once the machines understand it, our job will be to create. The biggest thing that we can do is to hold our people from the disruption. There's a linear mindset that happens. People are like, no, I'm fine. Don't worry, I've been doing this for years. We'll see where that gets most big companies and most people. Doing what you've always done simply won't do. I know I watched this video once 5 years ago. It started my whole journey. Has anybody watched Do Schools Kill Creativity? Come on. I'm giving you homework. Can we make a deal? Would you do one thing for me? I want you to write this down. Ken Robinson, Do Schools Kill Creativity. It's the most watched TED Talk of all time. Of all time. The day I watched this, he changed my life. Because he articulated in a way that I couldn't, that there are many forms of intelligence. And I want to give you a little example. There are many new forms of, we have to reimagine the processes. Let me tell you a little story. In high school, I hated geography, hated it. It's quite ironic because if you could see now, I've got a big tattoo on my forearm. Plays ode to travel. It says you can always make more money, you can't get back time. I really do believe in travel. I think it's the greatest thing we can use to create perspective instantly. One day you're in South Africa, then one day you're on the other side of the world. People look different, drive different, sound different. It's just boom. Perspective change. It's funny, I always think back to this, like, why did I hate it? It's because of just, I didn't line up to the system. So I want to show you a video. Because I feel like if if we use the tone more sometimes, I'm not saying this is the only way, this is my point. But if we started to introduce these kinds of thinking, it would make a big difference. Now, here's the thing. I know we're running slightly over. I'm going to be 2 more minutes. Here's the thing. If you ever forget the difference between Netherlands and Holland, you just weren't listening. We can't compete with this guy, because you know what he's done? He's taken hundreds of hours, put it into this like super intense little video. I could not compete with this. He's taken all that time, boom. We should be using this more often. That's a valuable, viable lesson. That's education. You just don't get a certificate after. We just have to rewire and reframe. I want to tell you a little story about education in the workplace. Meet Fat Mark. That's the guy on the left. When he was 11, 12, he was about 100 kgs. He would eat all of you today. But you're saved. Here's the deal. I use this often to just explain the difference in how we should be thinking of education in the workplace, and we do. For this guy to become thin, imagine he went to a corporate company and he got advice from a corporate company in the same way they advised their people about education. It would sound something like this. If we wanted Fat Mark to lose weight, we'd say to him as a corporate, first, my angel pie, you will wait until the 1st of January, because we have to plan it, we have to strat it, we have to take the hell out of it, we have to ruin every good part of it. It can never just move, can never be organic. 1 January. Eat whatever you like, but we're watching you till then. Okay? So he gets to 1 January, and now the corporate says, welcome to 1 January. Welcome to losing weight. We know everything. We've been around for long. What you're going to do is today, you're going to go to a gym for 12 hours today. What? Yes. We're going to run that little khati of yours off 12 hours today. And so off he goes, and he does his thing. Dead. But okay, for the sake of this argument, he's still alive slightly. But don't worry, on the 2nd of January and for the rest of the month, you don't have to go back to gym. But on the 1st of February, you have to go back for another 12 hours. But don't worry, for the rest of Feb, you don't have to go back. And we have to repeat this process month in, month out until December. By then, you'll be thin. Will he? Okay, we all know that, but let me tell you how companies advise education on the same way. So this exponential future is coming at us. We need to do something about it. But hold on, just work. Okay, there is a skill shortage here. We've identified it for the last 6 months. Go on that one-day workshop. Learn everything you need to know in 6 months. Glad we upskilled you. Work. Oh, look, that's that annual conference that we run. We're going to be so much better for that one. Off you go. Work. It's now October. I know you're tired. Let's bring in that one guy. He said shit once. He was very funny. Bring him in. Maybe he'll talk. He'll up-pip you. This is Friday. Monday, back normal. Work. December. Drink. You're happy. We have sufficiently upskilled you. Next year, we're going to teach you German in 6 hours. And then we wonder why we can't seem to make it. We need to rethink this. But I can't stress this part enough. The rethinking starts from the ground up. The truth is that the future doesn't care how you become an expert. And I've learned this in my own life, and my job is to help many other people understand the same thing. There is a new way of hacking the system. There is a new way of adding value to your life. There is a new way to make more money. People don't like to hear this, but I often say, why do you think it is that you earn what you earn? And this is like, money. I'm like, why do you think it is that you earn what you earn? I think you earn according to the value of the problem that you solve. So either you've got a value problem, or you've got a marketing problem to show your value. But either way, you need to increase your value. Now, you used to increase your value by going to varsity, getting a piece of paper that says, I am more valuable. I'm saying there's a newer way. There's a way that's coming that's going to blend the two. The future doesn't matter how you became an expert. And you know how I know? In the 2 years that I've been running Suits and Sneakers, the thing has evolved to death. I work with many companies to help them reimagine their learning in the workplace. I'm standing on this stage. I'm a guy with no matric that got asked to fix the education system. Think about it. Yeah. So here's the thing that I want to say to you. What? You and me later. High five. Here's the thing, and this is my closing point. I don't normally have the best of things to say about big corporates because I'm frustrated with you guys. I don't think you're doing enough. But today, I'm the straightest shooter. I don't talk bullshit. Today, I'm really excited because I agreed to do this. I don't sell myself. I agreed to do this on my end because I've been working with Alexander Forbes for quite a while. And we've been working on something together. Let me rephrase. They've been working on something big. I can't announce all the details. But you know why informal education gets the bad rep? We can't measure it, which means we can't manage it. Our goal is to take people and turn them into adopted learners, people that look forward to the learning. And then second, we've got to turn them into self-directed learners. But we need the tech to do that. We need a balance of face-to-face and online. And Alexander Forbes has been working on the system for yonks. I can't tell you more than that because I've been sworn to secrecy. But that's the part I'm most excited about. Because when we get into people's lives and we start using a balance of humanity and tech to change things, things will change exponentially for the good. I want to encourage all of you to think about education as the most important thing. We have to start teaching the have-nots how to add to the economy in a meaningful way instead of just giving. It's a short-term solution that's needed, but it's not sustainable. My name is Mark Sham. You can catch me on Twitter for any reason you want to talk education, @Mark Sham on Twitter. Thank you very much for your time.